Continuing on to example 3, we're using a special product, patterns and mental math. Really, this is a good way to be able to multiply large numbers in your head without a calculator. Actually, quite often I use this to be able to kind of round and figure it out and then take things out and get a more specific answer, things like that. And again, it's just a mental math kind of way to become the calculator so you don't need it. Because by the time I take out a calculator, most of the time I can do the calculations in my head. So the calculator's useless unless I'm doing higher end stuff. And I don't just me as a math teacher. People do this when they're talking about finding percent of a number. Like there's a 35% off sale and they see something at $37. They go through and they use a method that's like this to be able to calculate that in their head. Excuse me. So I've got most of it written out here, and really all it is kind of rounding your number to the next tens, because tens we have rules for, right? If you multiply 10 times 10, that's the same thing as 1 times 1, which is 1, and keep the 2 zeros, 100. So 10 times 10 is 100. Well, if 30 is 3 times 10, once we get that 100, we multiply that 3 back in that we took out from 30, and we get 300. So there's different little tricks we can do there about taking away numbers, but specifically with tens that we can utilize here. Because it's actually pretty simple to square tens is really what it comes down to, and that's where the trick comes in. We know that 26 is the same thing as 30 minus 4. There's no arguing that. If you take 4 away from 30, you'll end up with 26. We also know that 34 is the same thing as 30 plus 4. Now, notice how I created a common 30. Now, by chance, I happened to get a common 4 in this specific problem. But we don't actually have to have that. We really just want terms that we can multiply pretty easily. So even if we had a number like 47 times 22, we could use little tricks. We aren't going to have the same first. We aren't going to have the same last. But this trick still works. And I call it a trick. It's not really a trick. It's just a shortcut method, a way to be able to do it mentally rather than on paper. But here we started with 30, and we also got a common 4. And because my first and my last are the same, and my operations are opposite, really all I'm going to do is square the first. Well, 30 times 30 is just the 2 zeros from the 30s, and 3 times 3 is 900. And we don't have to worry about that negative 4 times the 30 or the 30 times the negative 4 because they cancel. Or sorry, 30 times positive 4. What we do want to worry about is that 4 times 4, or 4 squared, and 4 squared is 16. And I got to remember, I'm always going to be subtracting it. So because 26 times 34 is the same thing as 30 minus 4 times 30 plus 4, and when multiplying, I get 30 times 30 is 900, and 4 times 4 is 16, and I'm always subtracting, because all those 2 facts are all correct. Actually, 3 facts, sorry. That means 900 minus 16 is the same thing as solving 26 times 34. Well, if I take 16 away from 900, I get 884. Oh, terribly sorry. I was really trying to hold that one back before I finished here, but that would be my final answer, and that means 884 is 26 times 34. And this method, a lot of the times, is how I'm able to calculate a lot of this before you can ever even get your calculator out.